Hello, welcome. You're actually here. And now I can't see you, but that's okay. I'm glad that you could see us. Welcome to Rockwood Music Hall and to Keepsake House. We are Keepsake House. I'm Haley, and this is Jasmine.
Yeah, and if you haven't heard of Keepsake House, we are what we call a listening room that takes you behind closed doors with independent artists. So our goal is to put together shows that support live music for independent artists. Our shows are generally what we call a roundtable style show. So you'll see artists on stage at the same time, taking turns playing songs and conversing with each other. And that makes for a very community-oriented and intimate type show. So that's what we strive for. We are really excited to present Linguistics tonight. This is the first time we'll be doing a show like this. Haley will talk a little bit more, but I'm so excited you guys are here. It's going to be really special. I love all of these artists, and you will too. So I'll let Haley take it away with some of the logistics.
All right. Has anybody been to a Keepsake House show before? A couple people, yay! Also, I hope Sarah cheered. You've been. So we, as Jasmine said, are a round table. So that means we're going to have 4 rounds tonight, and it'll go in a round. It'll go counterclockwise from what you can see on the stage, and then we may or may not have a special, not so surprise guest who we will introduce when the time is right. And for this show, the idea actually kind of was inspired by Sarah Kang, who's sitting over there in her beautiful hanbok, and we'll get to her. But Sarah is a resident this year. We have residents. We'll talk about them more later. But we have annual residents, so Sarah's playing multiple shows with us this year, and a lot of her songs are bilingual. They have Korean and English lyrics. And at the end of last year, I thought to myself, wouldn't it be so cool? I've never seen a show before where every single song is, or every artist is in a different language. And I just thought that would be the coolest show ever. And then we ended up kind of honing in on specifically Asian languages, as we tend to be a pretty AAPI focused organization. So tonight you will hear music in Korean and a little bit of English, Thai, Tamil, and Chinese. Hint, special guest. And because of that as well, and kind of because I think I've been thinking a lot about Keepsake House, as a home, and we welcome guests with food. So you have all gotten a little keepsake bag, and it's also kind of related to the theme of the show. So inside the keepsake bag, you will find items from 3 of the kind of cultures represented on stage through these artists tonight and the languages. Yes, please open them as I'm talking. I realized I have one to open there. Maybe Jasmine can open it because I can't hold the mic and open it. So inside you will find lyric translations. Oh, sorry. Lyric translations to one song each that the artists provided for us, and we'll tell you when those come up. And those lyric translations for the Zoom audience, because yes, we do have a live stream audience, hello, are available via a PDF that we're going to send you the link to. And the other goodies in the bag, we have a sponge cake from Kam Hing Coffee Shop. Jasmine, come over here so Zoomers can see you. Kam Hing Coffee Shop is a local beloved coffee shop and sponge cake maker. They're basically like a factory in a tiny little shop in Chinatown. They have 2 locations. They're amazing. And they go really well with Thai iced tea. And you have instant Thai iced tea packets provided by 3 Aunties Thai Market, which is a market owned. Yes, we have some fans. It's a market owned by, well, now there are 2 locations as well, owned by Plum's mom in Woodside, Queens. Yeah. And the other one is a Korean cafe called Round K by Seoul. They also have a bar, and you got a coupon for 15% off the bar. It's located in Chinatown, so enjoy that tonight or whenever you want.
They are open tonight until 12 a.m. So if you want to stop by after the show, you can.
Perfect. After party, figured out. Alrighty, without further ado, I'm going to introduce our incredible artists and we're going to let them take it away for round one. No questions until the end. So I'm going to list all of their names first and then we'll start with Rini. But we, of course, have Rini who will be singing tonight in Tamil and kind of no languages as well. Mm-hmm. Spoiler alert. Give a round of applause for Rini. I love these long pauses. It gives me time. So the next artist is going to be singing fully in Thai, and that is Napat Snidvongs. Yeah. Thai is really hard. Also, I have learned that many Thai people have nicknames, and his nickname is Plum. So if you hear me say Plum, it's Napat. And then, of course, we mentioned her already, but Sarah Kang is here, and we'll be singing in Korean and English. Take it away.
Right. All right. This first tune is called Kanakalam, which means the time when it was all amazing. And it's also Kana means dream in Tamil. And the song is about the innocence of childhood, about your favorite childhood friend, growing up with someone so special that you kind of think back and go back to now, and is always in your memories. And this one's for my friend Soumya, who lives in India right now. So here's Kanakalam. This one has translations in your paper if you would like to look through.
Hello. So this song is about. So I wrote this when it was we're just about to come out of COVID, and I felt like when COVID hit, somebody pressed like a fast forward button, and then we came out. It's like a new era, you know. And so I thought a lot about where I grew up in Thailand, and it's my memories growing up there is kind of fading. Like when my experiences of buying like CDs, you know, now when you tell kids about it, they're like, they don't really know what that means. To wait for an album to come out, that doesn't mean anything now, you know. So I think this song is kind of like, I want to take people and I want to preserve that world right before COVID, you know, a little bit.เส้นทางยาวไกลที่เคยเดินมาอาจเป็นเพียงเรื่องงมงายในปัจจุบันเธอก็คงแค่ออกไปอย่างนั้นฉันเดินตามหาเสียจนเหนื่อยล้าเรื่องจริงหล่นหายหลายความชินชาฉันเดินตามหาเธอจนเหนื่อยล้านิทานเลือนหายตามกาลเวลา
Hi. My name is Sarah Kang. Just to clarify my name, I grew up pronouncing my last name Kang like my whole life. But the correct Korean pronunciation is Kang, the way that Haley pronounced it. And so the past like 6 months, I tried to say it the right way and get used to it and say Sarah Kang. But then at the end of the day, I was like, I just can't get used to it. Like it doesn't feel like me. So I was like, maybe it's okay to embrace like that being part of my story. So I'm back to being Sarah Kang. Sorry, I should have told Haley. But my husband was like, you didn't even consult me the first time because we have the same last name actually before we even got married. He's like, you didn't even consult me again. Oops. I'm going to play a song called Goodnight. I thought it was so cool how both Rini and Plum played songs about childhood and about the past. That seems to be a theme for tonight. But the song, I wrote it because I felt nostalgic about the days when there was someone to tuck me into bed and tell me like, you did good today. You're doing great. So this is kind of a lullaby for adults. Sorry, my brain just blinked. Oh no, I'm so sorry.
Take your time. Take forever.
Thanks,
I'll
man.
be here.
Okay, it's back. I admit that I miss being a kid. Might sound foolish, but sometimes I wish someone could tuck me in and turn out the lights. Tell me that I'm doing just fine. 나의 어릴 적 모습이 생각나. 밤마다 기도해주던 우리 엄마. 이제는 다 큰 어른이 되었지만 아직 위로가 필요해 난. Goodnight, 오늘도 수고했어. 걱정 마, 넌 잘하고 있어. You are more than enough. You will always be loved. Good night. 오늘 밤 예쁜 꿈 꿔. 나는 잠이 오지 않아. 내게 전화해. 자장가를 부탁하는 너. 밤은 외롭지만 잠든 하늘엔 별들이 속삭이고 있어. Good night, 오늘도 수고했어. 걱정 마, 넌 잘하고 있어. You are more than enough. You will always be loved. Good night, 오늘 밤 예쁜 꿈 꿔. Sweet dreams, my dear. Always I'll be right here. Sweet dreams, my dear. Always I'll be right here. Good night, 오늘도 수고했어. 걱정 마, 넌 잘하고 있어. You are more than enough. You will
applause for round one. I've been told to buy time with a question while our special guest pees. But that's okay. I come prepared with a question. So I kind of have a question for all of you. Been thinking about bilingualism a lot because in order to do this show and live in the US, you all must be at least bilingual, if not multilingual. And of course, one of the questions that I feel like we get as people who are bilingual, I speak French and some Chinese, is what language do you think it? Does it change? How does that affect your songwriting as well as kind of what I'm curious about? And also thinking about, Sarah, why your songs tend to be, if they have Korean, in both English and Korean. Have you ever thought, like, do you still think in Korean at all? And have you ever thought about doing a song fully in Korean? And maybe for the others as well, I know you do incorporate some English, Rini, but kind of how do you choose? Like, is it just about where the thoughts come from, or is it more conscious than that? Anybody can chime in. Anybody and everybody.
You want to go first? Okay. For me, I think I grew up in Chennai in South India, which is very urban, and it was a mixture of English and Tamil, to the point that I don't even know some words in Tamil. I know them only in English, and even in like everyday speaking, people use those English words like car. We don't say and in like Tamil word for car, we say car, and maybe car, like in a very.
We do that in Quebec too.
So I think my thoughts are like that. They are like interspersed in both languages. But when I write, I think about the phonetic of how it flows with what I'm trying to express. And I think certain things flow really nicely in Tamil. It has some really nice phonetics. And certain things, I feel like I express myself better in English. And I didn't really like study Tamil in school. I studied English because my school was like all in English. So I feel like I can express that better in English. So I think for me, it's about which is better for me to express a certain thought. Sorry, they have to share a mic today.
I mean, I grew up in the States, so I mostly think in English, but are there any Korean speakers here? Yeah. So sometimes when I'm annoyed at someone or like mad, then I think in Korean, like the things that I can't say out loud, like yeah, 짜증나, or like 자기가 뭘 안다고, like that kind of thing. It means like, what do you know? This is like how I used to rebel against my parents, like in my mind.
Even though they spoke Korean.
Right. Well, I couldn't say it out loud, but I would say it in my head. Yeah. Yeah. And I think my songs, like I like to include both English and Korean because there are certain things that just like feel different in Korean that I can't, it doesn't communicate in the same way in English. But I think I need to incorporate both because I am both. So
Yeah.
I think in Thai. What else? What's the question?
I guess it might be the same answer. Why do you write in Thai?
Yeah.
Because you think it's Thai. Well, I like the range that all of you bring tonight. All right, well, our next performer is going to kick off round 2 and stay around for round 3 as well. This is somebody, has anybody been here since Music and Mic Night? Does that ring a bell to anybody in the room? I feel like some of you have been. Okay, so I used to work at a museum that shall not be named, and the programming that was my baby was called Music and Mic Nights. And it's where I met a lot of the people who are part of Keepsake House, including Jasmine. And this was totally her idea. Do not think that I'm taking this from her at all. Because Keepsake House, it was named, she came to me. But we really wanted to create a space where we could bring back a lot of the community that it felt like we were building at Music and Mic Nights. Sarah was part of that community. We would play every month and there would be all kinds of different AAPI performers from New York. And one of those performers was a person named Frank Song Jr. And Frank became a dear friend of ours, and then he left to move to Vermont, which was great timing at the pandemic because he got to go be in nature and be a doctor in a really beautiful place. But at the same time, it meant that when we were forming Keepsake House, we were like, but Frank, like, what about Frank? And we ended up having our first show in Vermont. And so our very first live show, not on Zoom, Frank was part of it. And a couple of months ago, maybe less than a month ago, we got an email from Frank saying, I'm coming to town 3 weeks ago. I'm coming to town. Do you happen to have a show? And I was like, the fates, the stars have aligned. We have a show. We have a show specifically about language and about Asian languages, and Frank has sung certain songs in Chinese. So you were meant to be here tonight, Frank. Please give the warmest welcome to our dear, dear friend, a radiant soul, Frank Song Jr.
It's actually so funny. The concert in Vermont, if I remember correctly, I also reached out to you after you had already planned it. And I was like, hey, I'm in Vermont. What are y'all doing?
I didn't know you were here, right?
Yeah, you didn't. And I was like, well, thank you. Can we please give a big round of applause for Keepsake House? Thank you so much. And the reason being is that like this is the kind of space that I want to perform in, and it's really hard to find this in anywhere in the rest of the country, let alone New York City. And at the museum that shall not be named, it was a reality, and now we're here. So thank you, Keepsake House, for just creating a space for all of us to share our stories. Let's see. Is there a input? Oh, thank you. So this first song I'm gonna write, it's not part of it may not have been the original set that I sent you, but the song is called The Beauty Song. And on the way here, I was like, I really want to play this one. And so the Chinese part of the song is not written by me. It's written by a songwriter named Li Yan. He's from the Han Dynasty. He died in 90 BC, but it's about Asian beauty and just the whole song about Asian beauty. And I wrote English as a commentary on what it was like for me regarding Asian beauty growing up in this country. And we can talk about it later if you want to, but I think it's a reality that I am breaking out of, and I want to celebrate our beauty because it's just not, it wasn't depicted correctly. I think it was spoken about negatively. I had to grow up just like really hating my own body in a lot of ways, just because of how I was taught to see my own self. And so this song is called Beauty Song, and I wanted to juxtapose those things together because here's a song from thousands of years ago celebrating our beauty. And I don't mean just Chinese, I mean just Pan-Asian and all of that. So the song is called Beauty Song. I look into the mirror and I'm unsure of what I see. For what I see behind me are people who don't look like me. Oh, these eyes on picture screens. Oh, how their voices are so very mean. They are telling me that your race will remain unseen.
So how come after all of this dedication to art and culture do we still remain so broken? Or was it always broken? Duct taped covered cars, plastic surgery scars. Please cut my eyes. No, please cut my eyes. So that you all may see me as one of you. 北方有佳人，却是耳独立。一顾情人城，再顾情人国。
All right. As you've noticed, I have so many things in front of me when everyone's being super minimal. But I just wanted to kind of explain what I'm doing here and why I kind of perform this way. I grew up in South India. I learned traditional Indian classical music, and then I came to Berkeley in Boston, and I studied electronic production. And that's when I started kind of putting together both of these worlds for me, like the Indian classical, which comes from my roots, with like this futuristic synths and all these amazing spaces that we can create. And to me, this is sort of like evolution of what has been and what is to come and the future, like computer music, but with everything that we have, kind of putting all of that together. So that's why I have like all of these things around me. So this next song, it's called Kural, which means voice in Tamil. And this is a song I wrote about women empowerment. I grew up in a very patriarchal society in South India, and I didn't see many opportunities for women, and there was so much I had to keep pushing barriers to even get anything done. So this is a song about that, about collecting everyone's voices to get more opportunities, and things are getting better, definitely, and even in India. And so it's hope for the future, really. So here's Kural. ഇവിടം പതിക്കും ഇടക്ക് മാറ്റമായി നീയും തോன்றி உலகினை திரும்ப வைப்பாய உரிமைக்கொரு நாள் தரும் குரல் பெரும குரலா பெரும் சுடல் உரிமைக்கொரு நாள் தரும் குரல் பெரும குரலா பெரும் சுடல் Thank you. Thank you so much.
So this song, when I was in college, I remember my friend who just learned how to play guitar. He learned just one chord and he started writing his own song already. It's so inspiring to me because just one chord and something to say. And you know, it's just like so simple. And so this is my version. It's not really one chord, but I tried to stay at one chord as I can.
คิดบ้างไหมเรามาทำอะไรตรงนี้ที่เธอเรียกว่าฝันตามกันไปเพื่อใครฝากให้เป็นคำถามในใจทิ้งไว้ณตรงนี้อย่าทำเพียงที่ฉันพอใจนานไปคงไม่ดีเหตุผลที่เรามีเป็นร้อยหมื่นพันก็เห็นเป็นไปตามแต่ใจสอนสั่งเราก็คงต้องเห็นใจกันกว่าตอนนี้หากว่าเราเดินไปด้วยกันคงดีไม่ได้คิดจะถามเพื่อจะว่าใครๆไม่ใช่เรื่องแบบนั้นลองมองดูข้างใน ตุผลที่เรามีเป็นร้อยหมื่นพันก็เห็นเป็นไปตามแต่ใจสอนสั่งเราก็คงต้องเห็นใจกันกว่าตอนนี้หากว่าเราเดินไปด้วยกันคงดีเราจะยังคงมองหน้ากันได้อย่างไรอย่าให้เรามัวมาทำร้ายกันฉันมองดูเธอเราก็คนเคยใจตรงกัน Would the audience help me play air trumpet? เหตุผลที่เรามีเป็นร้อยหมื่นพันแต่ก็เห็นเป็นไปตามแต่ใจสอนสั่งเราก็คงต้องเห็นใจกันกว่าตอนนี้หากว่าเราเดินไปด้วยกันคงดี One more time เหตุผลที่เรามีเป็นร้อยหมื่นพันก็เห็นเป็นไปตามแต่ใจสอนสั่งเราก็คงต้องเห็นใจกันกว่าตอนนี้หากว่าเราเดินไปด้วยกันคงดี
It's very hard to go after Plum because I like, I don't know, your voice is very like pure. He said he had fried chicken before this. But I don't know, something about it is making me very like emotional. I'm too soft right now. I'm gonna play a song called Fall for You. I had a conversation recently with someone about like, what's the difference between liking someone and loving someone? Like, what does it mean to get to that level? And we agreed that in order to say that you love someone, you have to be willing to sacrifice yourself. If not, that's not really love. That's like infatuation, or that's just like obsession, or just really liking someone. And this song is kind of about that idea of like love equals sacrifice and kind of dying to yourself a little bit. I remember, oh, something is wrong with me today. It's because I'm going to perform. Oh my goodness. Like my brain just goes blank while listening to him, and then I'm like, oh shoot, I have to sing something. I've been wondering if you remember. You said that we're not meant for each other. 'Cause I don't believe in soulmates, but I won't let it get in the way. And I don't mean to complicate it, but there's no other way around it. To try to make one out of two, when I am me and you are you. What am I
supposed to do? When I fall for you, I'll change my colors if I have to. Sorry. If anyone is worth it, I think it's you. Baby, I die for you. When I fall for you, we'll dance like the leaves when their time is due. Forgive and forget to make room for new. Baby, I die for you. I'll fall for you. I'll fall for you. 여름에 여기 가시군 후 달라진 모습에 미는 뒤 나뭇잎은 이미 변해가고 있네. 그렇게 마주하는 우리의 결말은 아니길 바래. 사랑은 참 쉽지 않네. 배려는 가식이 아니라고 했어. 나는 너로 인해 떨어질 수 있어. When I fall for you, I'll change my colors if I have to. If anyone is worth it, I think it's you. Baby, I die for you. When I fall for you, we'll dance like the leaves when the time is due. Forgive what was said to make room for new. Baby, I die for you. I'll fall for you. I'll fall for you. When I fall for you.
Hello, I'm here. Give it up for round two, these artists again. All right, so in case you were not aware, we are live streaming the show tonight. So we do have some audiences on Zoom, so you can give it up for them. Thank you for showing up. And we asked them if they had any questions for the artists. And there's one question specifically for Frank. One of our audience members asked, your vocal range is amazing. There are parts of the beauty song that sound almost like an erhu solo. Do you take any inspiration from Chinese instruments in writing the song? How do you do research for your song lyrics? And how did you discover works from the Han Dynasty?
Yeah, so it is very much, I think that when I get into that vocal place, it's very much, it is an erhu. I would say that why I connect with that sound is not only that I think it captures a lot of emotions, but I was a concert violinist to begin with, and strings really were my first language of expressing, and I never learned the erhu, but just listening to that music, there's a lot of sadness and trauma in my family, and I felt that it captured that journey and it captured that story. So I bring a lot of that type of sound into my music. In terms of the song itself and putting this together, have you all ever seen House of Flying Daggers with Zhang Zi? Yeah, so during one of the dance scenes, she sings this song, and I watched that movie when I was a child, and I never really understood. I was like, oh, they just probably wrote that song for this movie. And then once I started looking into it and reading about it, I realized that it's a historical ancient song. And then how the song can do. So I don't really have a lot of structure when it comes to songwriting. It really is based on my emotions, and when things well up enough and I want to scream them, like it does, like out as a song. So this one came because I was really processing my own, I don't know, just through therapy and learning about my own sexuality and learning about how I relate to myself and my body and to my partners, I recognize I have so many boundaries. There's so many anxieties. There's like, oh my God, they're gonna think you have a small dick, blah, 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 blah. They're not gonna like this or that. Like you have too many moles, your hair, your darkness, blah, blah, all these things just in my mind. And I was like, who told me this? Who like showed me this? And do I want to continue living this way? And not only for myself, but for like my nephews and nieces, like seeing them growing up, I just recognized that like, how did this get ingrained in me? And how can I shift the perspective in the world around me and celebrate with my community that like our beauty naturally, period, is beautiful. It doesn't need to be modified. It doesn't need to be changed. And we should actually be like leading in our own ways and be leaders in our own beauty. And it just all kind of came together because I was like, how do I communicate that? And it felt really powerful to speak my own words in English for my country. And then also add in the Chinese as a way to let everyone know that there was many thousands of years where we celebrated our own beauty. You know, we created our own standards. And yeah, so that's how, thank you for asking that very thought-provoking question.
We're going to head into round 3, starting with Frank, and we'll have a couple questions at the end of round 3.
Also, this is a house and a family, so I can't believe that there are so many people in this room that some of y'all are standing. But if you want to come into the front, there's a couple seats left. Also, you can sit on the floor if you'd rather than stand. It's casual, right? This is a family safe space. Yeah, y'all can mess up your lyrics, change your set list, whatever you want.
Thank you. Yeah, so this last song is called 我的家 in Mandarin and 我的家 in my dialect. It's called My Home. And I think it's always so interesting for people of, you know, immigrant diasporas to sing about home and what that means. But I wrote this song in my dialect. There was a point in time where I realized that, you know, this dialect is going to kind of die off just because, well, if you're going to learn English and you're going to learn Mandarin Chinese, who's going to fit in putting that effort into that? And I think that happens in a lot of immigrant families, and just being like, well, especially if two partners come together and one speaks one dialect or one speaks another and all these things. So I was raised by my grandparents, so I spoke my dialect first, then I learned Mandarin, and then I learned English. And we're watching kind of the generations that go. And so this is a way for me to preserve my dialect in a way. And it's also a storytelling about where my family is from. It's a mixture of 2 dialects for myself. My mom speaks Linguistics and my dad speaks Yugobafa. And they're mutually intelligible. So that's why my sister and I learned it as like a mixture of those 2. And at the end, I offer my own prayers for you all and for myself as you leave this space and continue on making change in this world and being the future, you know, because I truly believe in our communities. I really do. So this is called My Home.
관관하고자 대ฟูลาน sanaง่ายๆ 하고자 대ฟูลาน sana 대ฟูลาน sana babaku asyun akoja mamaku asyun akoja Oh
Thank you. That's Mogosia.
All right. This next tune is called Mango Showers. So a little bit about this, it has no lyrics. It has only solfege, Indian solfege that I use. So I sort of started writing songs that don't have my own language or English lyrics because I wanted to sort of express an emotion via the music itself. So I could have people imagine what they want to based on the emotion they feel based on the song. And traditionally, actually in Indian classical music, they have like modes that are related to emotions, modes that are related to the rain, for example. And this is what Mango Showers is about. It uses this rag called Malhar, which is for rain. And usually compositions are written in this mode when it rains. And when you listen to it, you'll kind of feel it. You can think about dancing in the rain, I guess. And I usually play this with my band. I formed my project with like members from around the world and sort of brought in all of the influences and play this song. But here's a very stripped down version of the song. It's Mango Showers.
too. You too. You know, I felt kind of not comfortable at first when they asked if you know, I could sing in Thai for an English audience, and then I realized that I listened to English or music in English like all my life, right? And then I didn't understand like a word most of the time, and so it's like payback time. 6 minutes long. So this song is about Bangkok City. So that's where I grew up, and I just felt like it's such a magical city, and I just want to write this song for my friend. เจอกันที่ประจำของเธอ ออกมาตอนอากาศร้อนพอดี ชวนกันไปเดินดูแผ่นเสียง ดันลงเอาเท้าซอยสี่ มีคนชวนดูศิลปะ ตรงวงเวียน22 กรกฎาคม เปลี่ยนใจไปดูหนังดีกว่า ดูในโรงใกล้ๆบ้านเธอ ฉันไปเดินที่ร้านเดิมๆ แต่เรากลับโตขึ้นมา ถ้าเธอเองต้องไปอยู่ไกลลับตา วันหนึ่งอาจจะเข้าใจ เคยวนเวียนอยู่แถวทองหล่อ ไปโรงเรียนตรงศาลายา เปิดบัญชีสนามเสือป่า ไปซอยใดก็คิดถึงเธอ ตกตอนเย็นเดินเล่นกรุงเก่า ฟังดนตรีที่ร้านบลูส์บาร์ กลับบูชาเสด็จพ่อรอห้า ทรงเมตตาให้คุ้มครองเธอ ฉันไปเดินที่ร้านเดิมๆ แต่เรากลับโตขึ้นมา ถ้าเธอเองต้องไปอยู่ไกลลับตา วันหนึ่งอาจจะเข้าใจ นี่ก็เป็นแค่ความรู้สึก ให้พื้นที่แห่งนี้ ไม่ได้มีเรื่องราวเท่าไหร เพียงความคิดดีๆ ไปทำบุญกันวัดบางไผ่ ดีใจได้ บวชพลีกายให้พุทธศาสนา เดิมเคยเป็นทหารรุ่นใหญ่ อารมณ์ดีเดินเล่นจตุจักร ดูกางเกงมือสองสวยดี เก็บการ์ตูนเรื่องนั้นเล่มนี้ เงินไม่มีทานข้าวบ้านเธอ ฉันไปเดินที่ร้านเดิมๆที่เราเคยไปด้วยกัน ถ้าเธอเคยเฝ้ารอผ่านคืนและวัน เธอเองอาจจะเข้าใจ ฉันยิ้มทำไม Mysterious trumpet player.
Was that the name of the song? That song made me very emotional for some reason. Again, I had to like hold it back. He said it's the fried chicken. Oh man, I'm like a mess today. I forgot the words. I'm like about to cry now after hearing that song. I also almost choked on my own spit in the last song. That's why I started coughing. I don't know what's going on. This song is called Home. It's the only song that I've written fully in Korean, actually. I wrote it back in 2018 for my first EP. And the lyrics are on the little pamphlet if you want to follow along. 나는 어릴 적에 친구들이 내게 물었지 너는 어디서 왔니 우리랑은 많이 다르지 너는 영어도 못하지 너는 수학은 잘하겠지 너는 머리도 까맣지 너의 집은 어디니 나의 집은 엄마가 사주신 도시락에 나의 집은 언니가 읽어준 동화책에 나의 집은 아빠가
집은 참을 수 없는 웃음소리에 나의 집은 참을 수 없는 두 저녁 속에 나의 집은 노래를 부를 수 있는 곳에 있어. Oh, where is your home? Oh, where will you go? Oh, where is your home? Oh, where will you go? Home. 나의 집은 노래를 부를 수 있는 곳에 있어.
Thank you. Are we all crying? It's not just me. We're crying, right? We're both crying. Oh, okay. If you have been to some Keepsake House shows before, you know that there are sometimes tears. No, one comment for all of you, not to make you all cry on stage, but we just got a comment on Zoom saying that he knew this show was going to be good, but it's absolutely blowing him away, and he wishes he was here. So I just want to pass that message along, and thank you all for being here in this space. This has been a really, really magical show so far. We have a couple questions this round, and then we have one more round. If y'all need a bathroom break, take it at any time. I know these shows are long. Again, safe space. It's a house. You can come and go. So this first question, I have been thinking a lot about New York, and not all of you are living in New York right now, but Plum, you live in Queens. Yes, Queens. Any Queens people there? Yeah, thank y'all for coming out all the way from Queens. Thank you, Jasmine, for coming all the way from Queens. Queens is the most ethnically diverse and lingually diverse urban area in the world. Yes, there are at least 138 known languages spoken just in Queens. Yeah, this is like mind blowing. Like, could any of us name 138 languages? I do not think so. So this is wild. So Napat comes from this, well, I don't want to say come from, whatever you feel like, whether you come from Queens or you're living there, but you live in Queens now. Queens is this hugely diverse community. Frank, you're in a place that is not so diverse. So in Vermont, so there's a whole range of places that you're living in right now. And I guess my question is really about how it has felt to look for community. Do you feel like you have found community in the place where you live now, or maybe somewhere else where people speak the same language as you? Is that important? Or yeah, what does community mean to you, and does it involve language at all? I guess this is a question for all of you.
For a change, you gotta go first.
Yes, Mom should go first.
That's very complex question.
I believe in you.
No, I always feel like lost, you know. So it's weird because even in Thai, I spent a few years in high school here, right? And then when I went back to Thailand, I'm Thai, but then there's this space I feel that you know, it's difficult to find like the people who just like you. I think it's similar to Asian American, right? Because it's not really Asian and it's not really American. So it's somewhere, it's like in the middle, right? And I guess I am Asian American too.
Yeah.
I never thought about this until you guys asked me to perform, because I always feel like I'm Thai, you know. When I see the media portraying Asian Americans, I never thought of me as Asian Americans. But yeah, thank you. Thank you for including us.
Thank you. Yeah, when I first met Plum, I was interviewing his mom at Three Aunties Thai Market. But you can see that blog on our website now. And all of them said multiple times, except for Angie, the part-time worker who she's born here. Everybody said, I'm Thai. But I'm glad that you feel safe in an Asian American space.
I'll talk about Vermont. Oh, Vermont. Okay, so I have to start off and preface, I love Vermont for how it received me, what it offered me, and the nature that's really preserved there and very well. In terms of socially, it's been a pretty big challenge. I have found a community of people who really care for me and take care of me. I will say that it is not enough for me, and it's very interesting that you asked this question, because I've been thinking a lot about it recently. And I started playing when COVID started dissipating and things were starting to open. I really started locally and playing in Brattleboro, Vermont, and there's a pretty robust music scene. But I am one of the only people of color playing music out there, and not only that, but Asian American playing out there, and then also on top of that, singing a different language. And so while it is received, I hate to say this, but it is almost like I'm just on display as this like antiquity. And it doesn't really necessarily feel that way, but it can be. It's just like there's an appreciation only so far. And for me, I became a musician to speak to myself, but then to my community, and to have that shared experience. And it's very interesting enough because it's coming across multiple dimensions of my life. Not only my music, but also my medical practice. It's about serving a community. Before I went to Vermont, I was working community health in Bridgeport, Connecticut, a large immigrant population. And while there's nothing wrong with me being there and serving that community there is something that I have to communicate is not okay with me, which is I know that there aren't enough people of color providers out there. There's not enough people of color musicians out there speaking their story, and at the same time in my practice I'm not serving the community that needs me, because the community, like people of color community or AAPI, they can go and find a provider in all these places, but where are they going to find someone who understands at a depth their story? And I might not be like cross that boundary to share that story, but people can feel that you have an understanding. And so it is about serving my community. And I think I didn't really realize that until I left the New York City area and I left my family and then I stopped speaking my language. And then when I got back together, it just was awkward coming out of my mouth. My disposition was changing because I just wasn't stimulated by the flavors and the sounds and the food. So it's not a fit for me. And there's a movement towards let's diversify this area. But if the infrastructure is not there and the people say they want it, but there's not really much to actually exposure or not treat you like, where are you from? No, but like, no, can I touch your hair? All that stuff. It's just not, it's just not. So that's my experience in Vermont. And I have nothing against Vermont, but that is just the truth. And I would stand by that I will say that to anybody.
For me, well, I've spent the last 10 years here in New York City, really. For me, it feels like home. It's been most of my adult life. And I think I really like, it feels like I fit in and I can be myself. I can do what my roots were and then whatever I can pursue here, meet new friends, learn new things about new cultures. I do have like friends who are Tamil I like to hang out with, and then I have friends who are not, who I like to hang out with. So I feel like I find a little bit of everything that I want in New York City, and it's really felt like home for me. Currently, I live in Jersey, but I did find a pocket of New York City migrants who came from Brooklyn, who still give me community there. But yeah, it's South Orange. If you guys are looking to move, that's a great place to move. So yeah, for me, it's home really.
I've been in New York for 8 years now. And one of the ways that, or to backtrack, so I grew up, my dad is a pastor. I grew up going to like a Korean church my whole life. There's a lot of baggage there that we can talk about another time. But when I moved to New York, one of my priorities was to try to find a church community that I wanted to be a part of that was racially diverse. So my husband and I actually go to church in Harlem called New Hope, and that's a place that we've really found community. We're like racially, socioeconomically diverse. And it's really cool to see such different people from different backgrounds. But we share the same value of like loving God and loving our neighbor, and being able to serve the Harlem community that we're in. So that's one way that I've experienced like the diversity of the city. And I don't know if I will ever leave New York, who knows, but if I do, that's like one of the things I would miss most. It's like being around such diverse people.
Thank you, guys. As kind of an extension of that question, I know, Frank, you sang a song called My Home, and Sarah, you sang a song called Home too. So I think it's hard to talk about language without also talking about this feeling of home. And I think it's a very immigrant or even second generation experience to feel like you're part of both worlds. I think Napat, you were kind of talking about being bilingual and just having our foot in two different cultures. So my question, which is kind of related to the last question, is how does navigating that feeling of home influence your writing and how you think about your place in this world and things like that? Whoever wants to.
Complex question. Gonna go?
I have to think.
Yeah, the question is, in thinking about this feeling of home and being bilingual and maybe navigating between two or more cultures, how does that influence your writing and just the way you view the world and your place in it?
So I'll take it. Okay. So for me, Amelia, what came up for me is it's pretty complicated for myself. I am gay, queer, whatever you want to define it as, and that was really difficult for me, just sitting in between two cultures. And I grew up in Virginia, so it was also a predominantly Protestant Caucasian community. And just navigating what that means in both cultures, what that means ancestrally, whatever it means. And so I actually really spent most of my life running away from the concept of home, just lost, not really knowing where my place is, not only on that level as a racial identity, but also sexually, as a sexual identity. And so how it's influenced my music a lot is there was a point in time where I really sang about how lost I was and how sad that was. And so many of my resulting traumas and decisions that I made throughout my life that weren't really self-serving were from that place of being like, well, you tell me who I am, you tell me what to do, because I don't know what to do. And so there was no sense of self, there was no sense of self-acceptance. And then I got to a place in my life where I did come into myself and I became unashamed of who I am and its complexity as Chinese, American, queer, all of these things. Neither male nor female, all these things. And I realized that what I came to was that I am a pillar. I'm a relic. I am something that preserves something through my language. I have access to something bigger and deeper within myself. And the shame is across the board. Being a part of the LGBTQ community, being Chinese American is something that's empowering to me now. And I can stand on my own now. And that's what I want to encourage with my music, because I made that journey. And you can hear that in my music of this lost aspect into I found myself. And what I found was just me, like these things that define who you are, things that like remove that, just for a second, remove that shame and recognize that is who you are and accept it. And from there, build upon that. And that's kind of what came up when you asked that question for me. Yeah.
For me, I think I take a lot from my home and my roots, and like my music, I go back to thinking about how I grew up, and my grandma taught me like the basics and all of, her knowledge of Carnatic, and all of that comes to me. But then I think about the context of where I am right now and what I like. I like progressive music, and like I want to go forward and not like from backward. I want to take only the things that I like and then put that into something that goes to the future in a very equitable and like diverse way. So that's sort of where I am when I create my music.
For me, I guess I think about when I write songs, I think about Thailand. So culture is like a conversation, right? So let's say if you're in Thailand, you're conversing with other artists. And so when you remove that into America, you're kind of thrown into a different conversation. Like maybe Thai people was talking about like Blackpink, and here it's maybe like BTS, And so it takes a long time for you to find your footing and what you want to say. And I feel as an artist, what you want to say is very important, Like this, like I said, if there's one chord and you know what you want to say, you can get away with things. So I don't know if that answered the questions, but yeah, it's difficult. It's very complex, like I said.
I think I've already forgotten the question. But I grew up in LA, Chicago, Dallas, and then I've been in New York for 8 years. So whenever someone asks me like, where's home for you or where are you from, I just don't know what to say. And I think that might be forever. Like that's how I might feel for the rest of my life. And then kind of on a more like existential like perspective, like I think about death and dying a lot, but not in like a morbid way, but to remind myself like this is not forever. Like we're all ultimately going to die. Sorry to break it to you. And so wherever I call home on earth, like that's not my ultimate home. And so I think about that a lot, and like how does that affect the way that I love and I'm loved while I'm here? How does that affect my choices and my values and things like that? I don't know if that answered the question, but yeah.
Woo, give it up for these 4 artists. One more time. We're gonna head into round 4, but before we do that, please give a round of applause to Frank Song Jr. one more time. Thank you for sharing your music with us. All right.
Sorry, we have a lot of conversations internally. I just want to say, if you want to see more of Frank while he's in town, he'll be playing this Saturday night at a super secret, not so secret, So Far Sound show in Bushwick. So DM him, ask for the details.
Ooh. Yeah, and before we head into round 4, we wanted to announce a couple of keepsake things coming up for us. We have a show called From Story to Song happening on January 6th at Rockwood Music Hall at Stage 2. Sarah, who's been our resident for the year, will be performing. So you can definitely come out and catch her again. The concept of the show is we pair our resident songwriters and our resident storytellers, and the storyteller shares a story with the songwriter. The songwriter writes an original song, and then it's being performed for the first time at the show. So it's usually a very emotional night again. So definitely come out and help celebrate the end of the residency with us. And then we are also taking applicants for our next year's residency. So if you are an artist, if you are a musician or a storyteller, if you're a poet or a writer or a business owner, anything where you have a story and you want to share it, feel free to apply. And definitely come and talk to us after the show. You'll be basically playing shows just like this all year round. Yeah, in this space, yeah, all of our shows are going to be at Rockwood next year. So we're very excited about that. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Applause. And if you want to keep up with us, we do have a mailing list. I know these are very old school. You can also follow us. We're at Keepsake House, keepsakehouse.com everywhere. But a mailing list is the most helpful way to get in touch with you directly, and also where we send out things like the residency application. So we're going to pass this around, no pressure, but please put your name and email if you want to keep up with Keepsake House. And there's one pen, so don't lose it. You all have a very important job. And this next round, we're gonna let you play, and please plug your socials or whatever you want people to follow. What you have coming up next, if there's a great project. I know an album is coming out soon, Sarah, so you better talk about it. And before Sarah plays, we'll give a little thank you. So just so you know. Okay, round 4, last round.
All right, talking about all of the death and loss and all that. This song is actually about loss. It's called Alone in the Blue. But it's about like different things through it. You have rage. It's not just sadness. There's like so many emotions that you go through when there's grief. And this is also something I wrote after I watched an anime. I'm a big anime fan. This one called One Piece is my favorite. Yay, One Piece fan. You know, every time I announce this, like hardly 1 or 2 in the audience who know One Piece, and I'm like, oh, okay, all right. Maybe I shouldn't talk about this. But this is great. So this is, if I don't know, people have watched One Piece, but the main character loses his brother, and it's like very, very touching part of One Piece. And so I wrote this song about that. And it's actually a very loud metal kind of song that I play with my band, but here's a very, again, stripped out version of it. check out my Instagram. It's at Rini Music, RINI Music, or my website, rinimusic.com. Thank you.
Well, I just released an album last year. It's okay. Check it out. But yeah, I don't know. If you guys use TikTok, please try to use my song. Do you guys know Nick Drake? Have you heard of him? Well, so I tried to write Nick Drake song. Thai people hip. We know Nick Drake. Sang สว่างของวันใหม่ภาพที่เห็นเมื่อมองไปนอกหน้าต่างเสียเวลาลุกขึ้นจากที่นอนออกไปพบเรื่องราวที่นอกหน้าต่างทุกคนก็ต้องเดินไปทุกคนก็ต้องไปตามจุดหมายแค่เพียงค่อยๆก้าวไปแม้ไปไม่ไกลเพียงใดจากนี้เพราะอากาศและไอแดดร้อนแรงอาจไม่งดงามเหมือนที่ในหน้าต่างเสียเวลาร้องไห้สักเท่าใดไม่อาจหนีความจริงที่นอกหน้าต่างทุกคนก็ต้องเดินไปทุกคนก็เพื่อนร่วมทางจุดหมายแค่เพียงค่อยๆก้าวไปล้มลงก็ช่วยกันไปจากนี้อยู่คนเดียวมันแสนจะเดียวดายอยากมีเธอนั้นเคียงข้างกายอยู่คนเดียวมันแสนจะเดียวดายอยากมีเธอนั้นเคียงข้างกายอยู่คนเดียวมันแสนจะเดียวดายอยากมีเธอนั้นเคียงข้างกาย
Thank you. So before we let Sarah take it away and end the show, we do have to thank quite a few people. It would not be possible to put these shows on without a very strong volunteer crew. So of course, thank you first of all to all of these artists on stage that are magical tonight. And if you want to support them further, of course, they said how to follow them or how to help them grow via TikTok. And a couple of them have some merchandise items that will be available upstairs after the show. And I know a lot of them would love to meet you too. So definitely come up and look for that and look for these artists. But do know that there's a show after us down here. They need to sound check. They need to turn over quickly. So please go upstairs after the show. Don't stay down here. And of course, that brings us to this space, which is our favorite venue in the city. This room is our favorite room to play music in the city. And we'll be back here a lot next year. So huge thank you to Rockwood for trusting us. And thank you to Sam, who's doing a freaking awesome job on audio. We had so many inputs that we have to share. So Sam has a tough job tonight. And a big thank you to Jeff Dang, who is manning the Zoom over there. He has headphones on, but I know you can hear me. And next to him is Justin Oni, who's also filming, who did so much testing work for this Zoom as well. So glad our cameras work. And slight announcement, we have a board. We're becoming a nonprofit organization, and in order to do so, you have to make a board. So huge thank you to, and this is the first time live announcing them, our official first ever board. We're a board of 5 people, including Jasmine and myself, and Amelia, who's in the back somewhere. She's gonna be at the merch table. Say hi. Tyler is helping manage the Zoom chat virtually from Florida. So thank you, Tyler, and John, who is going to be our treasurer. I'm not sure if he's here tonight, who's running from a project. So if you made it, hi, John. Thank you. Welcome to Keepsake House. And thank you to all of you for being an incredible audience. Please come back. Please let us know what you thought of the show. Come say hi. We'll be upstairs after the show. We love you all. Welcome to Keepsake House. Sarah, I don't know if you've played this song before in a live audience, but here we go. We're all very special.
I hope I don't get in trouble, but I'm going to break the rule and play a different song. And it's and it's in English. But like our conversation about like identity and home and where we find ourselves, I was like, I think I have to play this song. It's not released yet, but it will be in 2 weeks. But it's called End Credits. Thank you so much for being here. And what else am I supposed to say? Oh, I'm releasing an album on October 14th. Yay! The release show is actually going to be back here, but upstairs on stage 2 on October 15th. If you want to come. Anyone on Zoom, if you live in LA, I'm going to have a release show in LA at the Hotel Cafe on November 12th. Everyone else, hopefully I will go on tour at some point in the future. But yeah, thank you all for being here. This End Credits.
When I was 17, I wondered if my life could be a movie. I'd play myself the main lead. It would be a coming-of-age story. A quarter of the way through, I met you in our meet cute, and halfway in I realized I didn't know the running time. Now here I am in 93, the end of my comedy. Flashback to my favorite scenes. I know this movie is ending, but faces I loved, who always believed in who I'd become. The highs and the lows, the hellos and goodbyes that made up the scenes of this beautiful life. The lights will come on, it's almost time. Just let me sit through the end credits. I was always looking back, longing for the days of the past. 'Cause if this is all we'll ever get, all I can do is try not to forget. But in my existential crisis, I think I know the truth is how I remember just points me to forever. I know this movie is ending, but let me sit through the end credits. Remember the names and faces I loved, who always believed in who I'd become. The highs and the lows, the hellos and goodbyes that made up the scenes of this beautiful life. The lights will come on, I know it's almost time. Why do all the good things have to fade with time? And why do we always have to leave them behind? Maybe all the tears that carved out these holes are making room for joy when I'm finally home. I know this movie is ending, but let me sit through the end credits. Remember the names and faces I loved, who always believed in who I'd become. The highs and the lows, the hellos and goodbyes that made up the scenes of